Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chess Quiz. Today we are at the next topic, that is the endgame studies explained. We are at the 75th position of our topic. So today we have got a case of king and pawn endgame once again, and the position looks as if white is able to win the game very easily. White has got an extra pawn. Of course it is white to play and win, but the things are not as simple as they look at first, because we see that the white king is far away from the enemy pawns, and whenever the pawn structure is asymmetrical, we have to be very careful when our king is far away. Even though we can see that there are 3 pawns versus 3 pawns on the king side, but the pawns are not on the same files, so the possibility of getting a passer exists for black as well. So one of the main ideas that black is having here is going h5 h4 and getting the breakthrough. Let's say for instance white just plays kb2, h5, kc3, h4, kd4, and after f5 if he tries to win the game simply by ke5, then suddenly after g4 we see that hg cannot be taken, h3 wins for black, so fg, and again we see that white has the only move kf4, when after g3 black gets a protected passer, and after kf3 kc7 we suddenly realize the king and pawn endgames which we have done. Here the 2 pawns are not sufficient. The point being, after e4 kc6 e5 king simply takes c5, and it will be white who will be in trouble. Maybe he can just hold the game, but the position is of course worse for him. But black also has to be careful. Let's see now the correct moves for both sides. The first point to be noted here, after kb2, if h5, then white instantly goes e4 and stops the move f5 by black. After this there is nothing that white needs to worry about, because kc7, kc3, kc6, kc4, the pawn on c5 gets supported, king will eventually come to d4, e5 and take the pawns on the king side. So black can reach the above mentioned position in the previous line by playing f5 first, and now after kc3, h5, kd3, very important move, not going away, but after h4 the king should be ready to be able to flexibly move to both the sides, like it can go to c4 also and e2 also when required. And here again white has the critical only move f4, which looks very odd at first. What is white doing? The point is gf ef simply makes the endgame lost. King just goes to d4, e5 takes f5 and the f pawn queens, right? But what is he going to do to the move g4? He cannot take hg. G in fact h3 wins for black, but he is going to use the move king e2. And what we see, another tactical point which we have learned before, after the move g3 where black is getting a protected passer, now comes e4, fe4 and f5. And those who have seen my lessons on the concept of floating squares, they know very well the squares here, see, they're formed by these 2 pawns. The square of 4 by 4 is touching the edge of the board, and there is gap of 2 files. It means the pawns prevail. The black king cannot hold the pawns. And look at this side here, in spite of the protected passer, whenever e3 comes, king takes e3. Whenever g2 comes, kf2, e3, king g2, and king remains in the square of the pawn. And this is a lost game. After ke7, c6, kd6, f6, and king cannot hold both the pawns. It's game over. If g into h3, then king simply comes from the f1 or the f2 squares. It will eventually go to g1, h2, h3 and take the h4 pawn. Let's calculate. After kc7, kg1, kc6, kh2, king c5, king h3, king c4, king h4, kd3, kg5, ke3, kf5, and white wins. And finally, if black tries to wait here with the move kd7 or ke7, then white can just execute the previous idea with hg, fg, and again he has the move f5. To note, these pawns are bit advanced on the king side, but king is very well in the square of the pawn. After h3, kf2, h2, kg2, g3, white just keeps his king on g2 and pushes his c and the f pawns, and white wins the game. The position looked very simple at first, but if white avoids the complications and finds the maneuver kd3 followed by f4 break, then only he is able to win the game. I hope you are finding these lessons useful. Do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for your time.